Hey guys, it's Miguel here from YugaTech, and okay, here's the deal. We now have 4 mid-range smartphones from both Huawei and Honor that have a Kirin 710 chipset, and it's gotten a little bit confusing. We have the Huawei Nova 3i, Huawei Y9 2019, Honor 8X, and the upcoming Honor 10 Lite. So, which one should you buy? Well, today we're going to be putting all of them up against each other and give you the final answer. Now let's take a look at a quick specs comparison of these 4 phones. Aside from the processor and RAM, we can see that the Nova 3i pretty much beats the other 3 on paper, but also costs 2,000 pesos more. So the question now is, does the Nova 3i really provide that much more? What can it do that the other phones cannot? Let's take it step by step, but let's get something out of the way. Let's clear this up again. All 4 of these phones use a Kirin 710 chipset and 4GB of RAM. Essentially, they all perform the same. So no matter what you get, performance is marginally similar to any of the other 3. They can all game, they can all multitask, and they can all do whatever they're supposed to do. Now with that out of the way, let's move on to design. This one, like always, is very subjective. And it boils down to things like your favorite color, or whether you like the Huawei branding or the Honor branding. But for us, looking at all 4 of the phones, side by side, the Huawei Y9 2019 stands out the most when you look at it from the back. It looks and feels just seamless. There are attractive curves everywhere, and you can get this minimal but very premium blue color that we have. And when you get to the front, you get the 3D curved glass design, but for the front, I think the Honor 10 Lite takes the cake here. Not everybody is a fan of the usual bar-type notch design, and the Honor 10 Lite has the most minimal notch. It's the type that we see on the Vivo V11, OPPO F9, Essential Phone, and others. It's still a notch, but hey, it's the smallest one. So for design, it's always up to you, but if you want our recommendation, go for the Huawei Y9 2019 or the Honor 10 Lite. Next, display. All 4 of these phones use a 19.5:9 aspect ratio IPS screens with a full HD resolution. So they are all sharp and have good colors and viewing angles, however, they vary in size. The Y9 and Honor 8X have the biggest, at 6.5 inches. The Honor 10 Lite comes in at 6.21 inches, and the Nova 3i is at 6.3 inches. There isn't really any noticeable display quality difference with everyday use, but the Honor 8X and Y9's display are noticeably bigger than the other 2. And going back to notches, yes, the Nova 3i's notch is the biggest one. So if you want the smallest notch on your display, go for the Honor 10 Lite. If you want a bigger display, go for either the Y9 or the Honor 8X. Alright, let's keep this moving and check out storage. Now this is where we see one of the reasons why the Nova 3i costs more. While it does have 128GB of internal storage, well, so does the Honor 8X. The other 2 have 64GB. Looking at expandable storage, all these phones have a micro SD card slot. On the other hand, the Nova 3i and Honor 10 utilize a hybrid setup, where you need to give up your second SIM card slot. So basically, if 128GB is what you're after, then the Nova 3i and the Honor 8X are your choices. But if you absolutely need 2 SIM card slots and a micro SD card, then the Honor 8X is it. For storage, it wins! Now, quickly, let's check out battery. The Y9 2019 has the biggest of the bunch at 4,000 mAh, followed by the Honor 8X at 3,750, then the Honor 10 Lite and Nova 3i at 3,400 and 3,340 mAh respectively. So if you want the biggest battery, y'all know which one to go for. Now we come to the biggest, the most deciding factor for this comparison review, the cameras. Let's start with the front camera to get it out of the way. Taking a look at these 4 selfies, it looks like the Nova 3i overblows the highlights a little bit, while the rest of the phones have a more balanced exposure. But between the other 3, it seems that the Honor 10 Lite's 24-megapixel front camera pays off. So taking a look at this shot without the AI turned off, there isn't much of a difference between all 4 shots. But if we're gonna pixel peep a little, then the Y9 2019 and Nova 3i have more detailed shots. When we look at this same scene but with AI turned on, The shots from the Honor 8X, Nova 3i, and Y9 look super unnatural. And the Honor 10 Lite's shot looks less unnatural? None of them look great though. Moving on. With this scene of the city skyline, we think the Y9 and Nova 3i nail it the best. The Honor 8X's shot is too cool and overly blue, while the 10 Lite's shot is flat and doesn't have as much life to it. This same shot with AI turned on, we think the Y9 does it best. It's able to capture what the scene is supposed to be, which is a late afternoon shot of the city. The Honor 8X again keeps an overly saturated blue toned shot, while the Honor 10 Lite's shot is the opposite, too warm. The Nova 3i comes in a close second, but for this one, the Y9 takes the cake. Now with portrait mode turned on, yikes. None of these shots are good or even usable, but if I had to pick one, it would be the Honor 10 Lite. And finally, low light. Taking a look at this scene of the Makati skyline, they're all pretty bad. Super noisy, blurry, and lacking in detail. But again, if we had to pick, then I'd say the Y9 and the Honor 10 Lite were the ones that got the cleanest shots out of the bunch. So with all of that said, for cameras, the Nova 3i actually doesn't really have any advantages over the other phones. Yeah, it was the best one in some of the categories, but not all of them. Now, before we move on to the conclusion, let's take a look at software first. When the Honor 10 Lite arrives in the country, it will come with Android Pie out of the box. But I don't think that gives it much of an advantage, as the EMUI 9 updates will be coming soon to the other three phones. Alright, so with all the evaluation we've gathered, is the Huawei Nova 3i the best option among the four? Is that slightly higher price worth it?
Well, all you get is a higher amount of internal storage.
And if you're not a fan of the bigger notch, which we aren't, then I'm sorry to the fanboys. For Kirin 710 phones, Huawei Nova 3i is out. And then there were three. The Honor 8X may have 128GB of internal storage and a dedicated microSD card slot for the price of 12,990 pesos, but it's out. Sorry. Between the Honor 10 Lite and Huawei Y9 2019, our official recommendation is the Huawei Y9 2019, with the Honor 10 Lite coming in a very, very close second.
It has great design, solid hardware, good cameras, the biggest battery, and as far as we're concerned, it can do pretty much everything the Nova 3i can do, sometimes even better.
So if you're gonna buy a new phone today, tomorrow, or in the near future, basically go ahead and go for the Y9 2019. But if you want to wait for the Honor 10 Lite, it's launching in the Philippines next Tuesday, January 22, which is when we'll know the official price. So before we end this video, remember, this is just our recommendation. At the end of the day, you can buy whatever the fuck you want. So, was this video helpful to those looking at these four phones? We hope it did. If you liked this video, you know where that thumbs up button is. Consider subscribing to our YouTube channel for more content. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified of our future uploads. And be sure to visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Miguel, and I'll see you next time.